Hey graphic designers, Conor here with the Motion Visual. Today we're going to learn how to turn vector shapes and text into 3D models using Adobe Illustrator. This tutorial is from my Spline, the Complete Guide series, where I teach 3D art and animation using an awesome and easy to learn 3D program called Spline. While this tutorial is about 3D in Illustrator, it's also a great way to start learning 3D art and design in Spline, so definitely don't miss my tutorial series. Hit like and subscribe real quick so you don't miss any new lessons, and let's jump into this. First, we're going to start out making any kind of vector that you want. I'm going to make a little 8-pointed star here just by clicking and selecting OK. I'm going to make the star a little bigger here. And then I'm going to use this tool to round out the corners a little bit. Now I'm going to use a little movie editing magic here. I'm going to center the circle within the star and then use the Pathfinder tool to make a little donut hole in the middle of the star. So we have this little empty negative space inside the star. Now we're going to select Window and select 3D Objects and Materials. Select our star and hit extrude, and now we have a 3D model of the star. The first setting is the depth setting. We can use this to make the star wider and smaller, and there's this little tool in the middle of your selected object that you can use to rotate your object in all sorts of different ways. Now we can use this taper setting to make the back end of the object thinner. As you can see, it's much smaller. Adds perspective, and we can use this twist setting to add a little twist to our shape. You can combine the taper and the twist settings, as you can see here. Now we'll turn both of those settings off, select the front view of our star, and we're going to try messing around with these bevel settings. You can do all sorts of awesome stuff with these bevel settings by adjusting the height and the width of the bevels. And you can also repeat them, so you can add 2 or 3 bevels and change the height and width of each of those as well. You can also select to add bevels to the backside or bevel the inside to create a negative bevel effect like this. Now just keep experimenting with all these settings. There's a bunch of different styles of bevels. Classic, rounded, convex, and you can add different numbers of repeating options and different kinds of height. As you can see, it creates all sorts of different weird effects. So just keep messing around and experimenting with all these different settings until you get something that you really like, that you think would be a cool model in Spline. I was happy with something that looks a little like this. So now I'm all finished up with this little star shape, and it's ready to be exported to Spline. Here's another one I'll show you real quick. I just used my shapes and the Pathfinder tool to make this little cutout square shape. Then I messed around with the 3D settings until I got this cool little church brick that I was happy with. Now before we export these models, I'm going to show you how to do this with text as well. You're going to make a text box in Illustrator, find a font you like, type out the word that you want, make it a little bigger. You can put it in a cool color if you like. Then you're going to select each of these, select the type option up top, scroll down, and select create outlines to turn each one into a vector. Repeat this for each one of your words. Now you can select each one, select 3D and materials, and extrude them. And start messing around with all the same settings that we used for our shapes before. And just experiment with them as much as you like until you find something cool. For this Spline one, I select this inflate option, which turns it into kind of a balloon looking thing. Select to inflate both sides and you get this kind of inflated thing. Now for guide, I tried around with this revolve option, which makes a 360 rotated model of your object. It's kind of difficult to mess around with, but you can create some really cool stuff with it. Change the revolution of your angle and add some taper to the end, and you get this cool looking weird model that I made with this guide word. When you're happy with your models, select them one at a time and choose the front rotation preset in this drop-down menu. Now you can click the Export 3D Object button. Rename your object if you'd like, and repeat this process for the rest of your models. Choose OBJ as the file type and X out of the rest. Save your models wherever you'd like. Now we're ready to open up Spline. Create a new file, get rid of this annoying square, and choose a fun background color that you like. Now click these 3 lines on the top of the left-hand menu and choose Open/Import. Choose the 3D option model in the middle of the box that appears, and find the OBJ model files that you created, in the folder where you saved them. Your saved models will now appear in Spline. You can treat them like any other object. Rearrange them, animate them, add any kind of fun materials that you like, or do whatever you normally would when creating something in Spline. You guys might remember seeing this radio a couple times in some of my other Spline lessons. Here's an old video of me messing around with all the vector parts. As you can see, this radio was created entirely with vectors made in Illustrator. They were beveled, extruded, and inflated, and then exported as OBJs and imported into Spline to create it. I hope this shows you what's possible and inspires you a little bit. Before you go, smash all these buttons for me. If you make something cool, tag me on Instagram or in the Spline community. And definitely check out the Patreon for free assets. Yes, you can join for free. Thanks for watching. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next lesson. I'm Connor with the Motion Visual. See you next time. Peace.